In today's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Philip Freeborn, who's the head of services at Delta Capita, and John Lofthouse, who is the global head of markets technology at Citi. And today we'll be discussing the first-time venture between Delta Capita and Citi. Philip and John, can you introduce yourselves briefly?
Thanks very much for the opportunity to participate in this podcast. I've spent most of my career doing similar roles actually to John's current role. I've done that at various organizations like UBS and also most recently Barclays. John.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is John Lofthouse. I've actually only ever been at Citi, joined something like 26 years ago in the UK, and spent a lot of time in the capital market space, primarily in the application development area. And today I'm responsible for our markets technology organization as well as our financial risk technology. I'm now based out of New York, where I've been for the last 10 years.
Got a big blend from New York and London here. So just to kick us off and give some background here, Philip, can you start off and talk a little bit about Delta Capita's strategy? Why would Delta Capita look at externalizing a product like QMA?
Yes, so Delta Capita's strategy is to be relevant to our clients in areas that we think are core to what they do, but perhaps not like differentiating. So if you look at some of the businesses we run inside Delta Capita, they're focused on four key areas that are very relevant to capital markets, but also broader financial services. And those four areas are around know your customer or client lifecycle management, our structured products issuance business, our post-trade business or operations business, and our business around pricing and risk. And when we first discussed with John and his colleagues about the opportunity with QMA, we recognized this was an area that was a problem that most banks had found and not found a compelling solution for, that Citi had by the work they'd done in developing their application, QMA. So we were delighted to be given the opportunity to work with Citi to commercialize it. And we're looking forward to seeing the success off the back of that venture very soon. So, it's completely in line with the core of our strategy. It's just another area that we've found with Citi, and we look forward, and we're always looking for new opportunities with other clients in similar areas.
And before we get into the opportunity too much or think about, the benefit for Citi, I'm sure everybody is wondering, what is QMA? And what is this kind of product that we're taking to market? So John, can you tell us a little bit more about what QMA is?
Within our markets organization, we have a pretty sizable markets operations team. We operate in over 90 countries. And as a consequence, we have a pretty distributed markets operations team as well. And we want that team to be helping our clients and responding to our clients as efficiently and as fast as possible. These days, most of our client interactions come across on digital channels, whether that's email, chat channels like Symphony and so on. We needed a way of managing those interactions to make sure that we get our operations team to our most important clients as efficiently as possible, and making sure that we're able to track all the follow-ups and make sure that client inquiries are actually getting dealt with. Traditionally, that had been done in an Outlook client on an IM app. And we found that it was very hard when you've got a large operations team to deal with all of those interactions and making sure that we were satisfying all of our client needs. So we built QMA initially to just make sure that we had one pane of glass to allow our operations team to just understand what's going on. And over the time, we've evolved that to provide management information to make sure that we're responding to clients quickly, and also integrations with our systems to suggest responses to those emails to make that response to our client even faster.
I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, especially in the hybrid work environment where you're constantly barraged with communications and emails and chats and trying to prioritize them. Why did Citi kind of go into the decision to develop this instead of looking for something like it on the market?
Sure. Had we defined something on the market, I think we would have just bought a product. We looked at the available products out there, and whilst there, in each channel was typically something good, we didn't really find something was fit for purpose for our operations team. Neither a product that could work across multi-channel or provided the integration capabilities with our systems. So that we could pull out trades from our trade processing platforms, integrate with other analytics and things we wanted to do. And so it's really, a lot of the capabilities out there were sort of very generic across, the spectrum. But when you look at sort of the needs of our operations team and some of the things that we wanted to get done, we just couldn't find that product. And so we decided to build it ourselves.
The point you just made there, which I think is the key secret sauce perhaps of the product, is that unified interface across multiple ever developing market initiatives, whether that's Symphony or whether it's other products out there solving specific set of problems. Actually, that makes life more complex for your own internal operations team if they're having to deal with multiple channels. And the beauty of this is it gives people a sort of common dashboard and a common inbox to solve those problems. So that's why we think it's really valuable. And that's certainly been the client feedback that we've had when we've talked to people about it.
Yeah, and it just allows us to deploy our operations staff a lot more efficiently. Rather than sort of one DL where 10 people might all do and say, query, it's very transparent about who's dealing with what, and we can get information about how quickly we're able to respond to our clients.
I think, Katie, it's probably fair to say you get this efficient model that John's referred to. Also, you've got the ability to, if you're a manager, an operations manager, and it's deployed across multiple teams, you get a lovely window into their workload and indeed their individual productivity. And I think that's a real benefit in today's world where we've got people working in different locations around the world. We've got people working from home regularly as well. So it's sort of a nice way of keeping consistently high standards for people wherever they're using this application.
And yeah, we can spot trends in that data. You know, if there's issues happening with a client, or we're starting to see a very large volume of issues in a particular problem, right? It gives us the one pane of glass to start looking at that and make sure that we're servicing our clients as efficiently as possible.
There's so many, I think, possibilities with the business intelligence like that in a previously very non-transparent and opaque space like communications. But it's not just about the business intelligence. You mentioned, John, that the users operate within the tool and use it to make their day-to-day processes more efficient. What are some of the examples of how it's been used within Citibank?
We started within our markets operations team, and that grew pretty organically and pretty as the team started to understand the power of this tool relative to what they were previously using. We ended up rolling out to almost all of the markets operations team, and then it's grown organically beyond markets into other businesses within Citi, as well as other support functions, where this type of workflow and integration of messaging, just makes a lot of sense. So, we found this has become a very useful utility for us beyond just the sort of initial scope we had in mind. And that's part of the reason today that we're looking for a partner, because of that fact that we've realized it's an important utility.
I think John raised a really interesting point, Katie, there, that sometimes a good tool breeds on its own success. It sounds like that's what's happened within Citi. And of course, there are other use cases I think John and I could imagine beyond the remit of Citi's business. For example, I think this is very relevant to insurance. Anywhere there's a large service element and client service element. I think broad financial services outside banking would benefit from a tool like this. And indeed, even beyond financial services, we see a market for this, although that's not our area of expertise at Delta Capita. We're very much focused on financial services. And we see this is directly relevant to banks, to asset managers, to hedge funds, anyone who's got client service needs. We think this is directly relevant to them.
We've literally got thousands of users here at Citi on the platform. We see an important strategic roadmap for this going forward as we started to understand the power of these types of capabilities on this platform. And that's one of the things that we want the joint venture to allow us to realize that full power in terms of investment as well.
Sounds like there's so many different use cases and opportunities for it to continue to grow within Citi and other potential clients. Phil, you mentioned about Delta Capita's strategy at the beginning of our conversation, and how does the opportunity with QMA kind of fit into that overall strategy?
Well, I think it's a great example where I mentioned the sort of 4 core businesses that we've been focusing on. In some cases, we've developed our own technology. In other cases, we've partnered with market-leading technology. And with Citi, we've gone the third and sometimes the preferred route because we know it works, which is an existing capability from a bank with a proven track record, and then productizing it and taking it to multiple clients. So it's absolutely in line with our strategy, and we see that this is the way to create potentially either SaaS offerings or mutualized managed services with Citi, and we expect to do with other banks this year in other areas. That is the way to get a market leading asset, and it's a great way to get a return on that investment, not only for the benefit you got internally, but also perhaps to share in the upside of the venture with Delta Capital, which I hope Citi will very much do.
What do you think the benefit was of going with a partner like Delta Capita on this particular venture?
QMA is in our DNA now, right? It's an application we're going to need for a long time. And we want to make sure that we have a way of sustainably investing in it for a long time. When we were looking for a partner, we didn't just need a professional services partner or someone who could sell us a product. We really needed someone who could partner with us on all of the above and make sure that we'd be good in terms of how we take the product forward, but also how we, can get investment and ideas from other partners in the industry. So Delta had, both the appetite to do that and the ability to bring expertise, in terms of how to build products and deliver that utility capability into all sorts of different areas. And so it was really a collection of, the things that Delta could bring to the table and do things strategically with us rather than just a regular commercial relationship that made us choose Delta.
And, obviously, we talked a bit about our respective backgrounds. I think with our technology DNA throughout with Delta Capita senior management, this is something that we felt we could add some value to. And indeed, early signs and early interest from clients while we create the product has been beyond our expectations. I think the other thing that would be necessary for any partner of Citi in this area would be access to many of the world's largest financial institutions, which of course we have through our existing businesses and our existing MSAs. And I think that's important. It's sometimes a great idea with us on the vine when you're a fintech, if you can't get access to those clients and you don't have the ability to paper the contract. So that's something that we feel we will bring to the transaction, and I think would be necessary for any partner if you're going to try and spin out technology from a bank.
No, and I think the operations expertise you have and the space you're in there, will allow you to generate ideas and think about use cases that even we haven't yet. And Phil and I have already spent some time, literally yesterday, just talking about how we take the product forward. And so I think the relationships would be in both directions in terms of adding value to how build this product over the next couple of years.
That's absolutely right. And interesting you say what you said, John, about our expertise in operations. Of course, we do have a lot of expertise in operations, but also know your customer / CLM, as I said at the beginning. And I saw in the office here in New York today, our office, Itzel Herrera, who's our product manager, lobbying our head of CLM, who happens to be visiting in New York, for her to find out exactly how it could be embedded into their business going forward. So, we can see use cases within our existing managed services as well as external client demand for a product like this. It's really complementary.
Sounds like a well-timed joint venture and a lot of opportunity and future for the product, especially in a space where everybody has problems with communications and emails, control and transparency around them.
I think so, Katie. And I think, look, one of the nice things is I've been on many of these calls, but not all of the calls we've had with our existing and prospective clients for QMA. But the general consensus is there's an acknowledgement that this is an industry problem, that the solution is highly effective. People like the fact that it's proven in a tier one bank like Citi, and it's proven at scale. And I think that's a wonderful start when you're having a conversation. And everyone we've talked to has said, yeah, we'd like to follow up when you've got the product ready for delivery. In fact, two clients have already said they are ready to start a proof of concept with a minimum viable product. So I think it's been a very encouraging start from, a deal that was only consummated a couple of months ago. So I'm delighted with the quality of the relationship, but also the quality of the engineering that John and his team have put into the product that has led us to such a good start. And of course, I'm going to get this wrong, John, but you'll know better. I think this has been in sort of evolution of product for 5 to 7 years of brain power. So the amount of intellectual capital from use cases that are relevant, it's very hard to value that, but it's incredibly valuable when you're talking to other operations groups or other service groups that have this problem, because you're immediately able to point to the functionality that really has taken many years to think through, even in an organization as global and as significant as City is. It's that experience is invaluable to us.
No, and then in the numbers prove it. You can see the penetration the product's got at City in terms of our teams, but also just the volume of messages that go to the platform, right? That, it is tried and tested. But we think there's a long way to go in terms of other things we can mutually create, both on this platform and other ones going forward.
So it sounds like this is a really great opportunity. And John, you talked about a little bit the reasoning for externalizing QMA. Is this the only product that you'd look at, or are you looking at potentially other opportunities to follow a similar model?
There will be other opportunities, where we see things that are utility and should be a product to the industry. That's our preferred model. Us developing something just for City is a pretty expensive thing. And so when you want to do that, where we think it's creating genuine competitive advantage for the firm. So I'm sure there's many engagements we have like this.
And Katie, from a Delta Capita point of view, we see this as a thoroughly efficient model for the industry, because we are getting the benefits of true mutualization, where multiple clients using an application in exactly the same way, a very similar way, we think is hugely valuable. We think in the businesses I talked about at the beginning, each of those are susceptible to that model. So you could imagine, whether it be with City or with another banking partner that has a great asset, whether that be in the operations area, the KYC area, whether it be in the pricing and risk area, frankly, we're always very interested to talk to clients that want to get the value, which we hope very much that City will get out of this trade in those other areas. So we think it's part of a new trend in the industry of realizing value from these trapped assets, as I think of them. But also, I think it's a great way for other clients to benefit from a lack of having to do it all themselves. But it does require a sort of clinical thought process within organizations and banks specifically to say, this is not something that I should be doing myself, but I'm happy to have a partner do it. And I think, there's a maturing of models that's happened over a period of time from, I won't do anything that I haven't built myself, or I won't incorporate anything I haven't built myself. And there's some banks that have had that philosophy in the past, or I want to go all with vendor products because I don't want to do it myself, or I don't have the teams to do it myself. And the right answer is, I think you may want to do certain things yourself that are client differentiating and partner with firms like us in areas that aren't client differentiating. That's, I think, where the industry may go. And I don't think it's just us, of course, but we expect to be one of the firms that provides these services to the industry.
And going forward, we would absolutely see ourselves as a hybrid of buy and build for our technology solutions, depending on what makes sense commercially for us.
A big thank you to Philip and John for taking the time today to discuss the QMA product launch and the first time joint venture partnership between Delta Capita and City. Thank you, John, and thank you, Philip.